No one ever told you that things could go wrong, and yet each day you struggle, hoping the illness to disappear. No one ever told you about sacrifices, yet you will keep sacrificing year after year. No one ever told you about the future, yet you are putting it all on the line, facing it with fear. No one ever told you that you were a carer. Look after yourself.
A powerful poem crafted by Matthew McKenzie, a man from South London who started caring for his mother in 2004 when she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. When she passed away during the pandemic, he was left to support his two brothers, Jay and Wayne. They both have nonverbal autism and require round-the-clock care. The impact of suddenly becoming an unpaid carer was huge.
The emotions that I went through when caring for my mother was definitely isolation. I was anxious about what was going to happen now, and I was very anxious about the future. There was a lot of depression, really, these things that I just couldn't do, and there's a lot of powerlessness, because when someone does become unwell, you're thinking to yourself, what can you do? And sometimes I would just take myself to my room and close the door and try and forget what was actually happening.
Matthew is not alone. There are 8 million people across the country who feel just like him. Luckily, he's now supported by Carers UK, a campaign organisation who provide a helpline and support service for carers across the country.
We've done lots of research on carers' mental and physical well-being. This last year, more than a quarter of carers said that they had had bad or very bad mental health because of their caring responsibilities. Some people said that they had felt suicidal. Now, that is extraordinary. If you're caring for somebody and the pressure of caring has made you feel that bad, if you like. And many people have found that the impact on their physical well-being has also been really badly impacted. So they're not getting out, they're not able to eat as well as they might be able to because of the financial responsibility, or just the time factor of being able to prepare a meal that is good enough for their own well-being. They're not able to do any physical exercise. One of the big things that we found through our research is that just 10 minutes a day of doing some kind of physical activity can make a real difference to an unpaid carer, and yet they don't prioritise their own well-being.
Like many others, Matthew did not categorise himself as a carer until a year and a half later.
So it takes on average 2 years to recognise yourself as a carer. So that is 2 years where you're not getting the help and support that you're entitled to. It's 2 years where you might not be getting that sort of financial support. You might not be able to ask your employer for some flexibility in the workplace because you're taking people to hospital appointments. So you might be taking annual leave or sick leave instead of getting carers leave or the support that you might be entitled to.
Just under 8% of people in London are providing unpaid care. And the latest ONS figures found that those who provide high levels of care were more likely to be admitted to A&E than non-carers. We reached out to the Department of Health and Social Care, and they told us that due to pre-election guidance, they're unable to comment on this. They did refer us to the Care Act from 2014 and some previous guidance from the Social Care Reform, both of which do make some reference to unpaid carers. But with political uncertainty coming over the next few weeks, organisations like Carers UK believe it's more important than ever to identify those who may not recognise their caregivers and also encourage a whole national conversation on this.
And this is what we want a new government to look at, to make sure that the care that unpaid carers are entitled to is there. So even if they recognise that they're a carer, they get a carer's assessment, there isn't always the full social care package there or available to them. They're not always consulted at the point of hospital discharge, which they are entitled to be. So those things are really important that we look at and we invest in for the future.
And with Carers Week approaching, Matthew is working hard to raise awareness. He writes books to help support others and was recently awarded a British Empire Medal for his services to carers. But for him, he has learned a valuable lesson.
Well, looking back on that unpaid caring role, one thing I would sort of tell myself before I take on that role is look after your well-being, your physical and mental health well-being, because if you can't really care for yourself, how on earth can you care for someone else?